Well, hey, everybody. Hope everybody's doing wonderful this Monday evening. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It is nice and chilly here in Austin, Texas after a very draining, kind of icy weekend. Uh, Excited for the Monday note. Excited for all those that are joining us now. I see quite a few people logging on. We are going to probably go right at about an hour this evening on some of the scenarios we're running through here tonight for you guys. This way everybody can get out and watch the Oregon Ducks versus the Ohio State Buckeyes play for the national championship tonight at 7 o'clock Central Time. So hope you are all doing well. I encourage you all as we go through this call to ask questions, but try to stay on point with your questions. If your question is not regarding the subject at hand, don't ask until the end. There's plenty of opportunities for you guys to ask questions at the end of the presentation, and we'll be glad to cover those. All righty, everybody? So let's get rock and roll on this thing here. I'm going to show you guys basically some different ways, obviously, to get a license skill for free. What I mean by that is basically being able to tap into the assets that these banks have at huge discounts across the country. But before we dive into that, we'll say who's in the room here for you. Well, it's obviously me, but those that are on the call, you guys learn differently. And so what I like to do is I always like to have my own little Myers-Briggs test. So take a look here. You'll see four shapes on the screen here: the circle, the square, the triangle, and the star. One of those shapes is calling out to you. So you just keep looking at your screen here. Okay? One of those shapes is calling out to you. Now, if some of you who on the call has circle calling out to you, it's like your shape that's calling to you. All right, Joe. You are basically kind of like the engineers. You need to know something about everything. You got to know the ins, the outs, take it apart to make a decision. All right? Sound about right? Maybe, maybe not. It does sound right. Okay, good. The square. Some of you guys have a square calling to you. Anybody want to own up to having the square called out to you? You guys and gals that are on call that have the square as your number one thing, you need to know a little bit of the high, you need to know a little bit of the middle, and need to know a little bit of the low to make a decision on things. Okay? Triangles. I'm sure we have a few of you guys in the call that are triangles. Well, triangles are basically, you guys are like upper management. Just give me the high points. That's all I need. Just give me the high points, and we'll go from there. Okay? Now, the stars, what is wrong with my questions here? I see people responding. Oh, okay. So Darren and Ken want to admit to being stars. Well, I'm sure there's a few other people that have stars on here, but you guys are addicted to drugs, sex, and alcohol. That's how you learn the best. That is the best way that you learn stuff. So join us at the bar. Pop open a glass of your cold favorite adult beverage, or something, maybe a hot toddy if you're in a cold area like St. Louis, like Bill and Ken is like, the star fits in my circle. Good one there, Joe. That's a possibility there. Looking forward to seeing this weekend too, Darren. So anyway, we've got quite a bit to cover here, but I always like to do that. It always starts it off the night with a nice little laugh, because sometimes we need that after a busy Monday. So hope you've all had a good Mondays, but let's get into here. For those of you who don't know me, we do have some new people on the call tonight. I've been a real estate investor since 2002. I have been buying and selling non-performing notes since 2007. I've had my ups and downs like any other real estate investor. I'm excited that the last 5 years have been nothing but an upswing for the most part. We've had a few hiccups along the way, but that's normal. President of Inverse Investments, LLC, which is the primary company, and along with that is the WeCloseNotes.com. I also am the creator of the Note Buying for Dummies Workshop class. I'm also excited that actually it's in the works to see if the whole For Dummies book series will do one on note buying. I actually have had a conversation with the creator publishers of the For Dummies workshop. Was actually introduced through a buddy of mine. You'll get a chance to hear a little bit about Greg later on, who's my buddy that introduced me. But he's actually introduced me, and we're going back and forth on subject matter, see if there'd be enough viable interaction for an actual No Buying for Dummies book. So, written by yours truly, yes, Scott Carson. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty excited about that, definitely. So, anyway, let's move on here. I've been called the love connection of ugly paper by Investors Business Daily and Wall Street Journal, the Chuck Woolery of defaulted assets. And then I was also recently in 2014 the Net Educator of the Year. So excited about some things that are going on. Got some memorable moments along the way, which is always nice. So let's see here. Let's throw open my webcam here. I'm in the office today, actually. Hey, everybody. Go Giants. We can see so well. I totally want you guys. Oh, a little bright there. All right. So I actually want, like, for all of you guys, if you're not already connected with me, if you're new on the call, to go and connect with me via LinkedIn, Facebook. Instagram is one thing we've got especially going on right now. Really excited about what we've got going on. We actually have a daily note nugget that we roll out every day, usually before noon Central Time, on note investing. Just a little thoughts. Hey, where am I today? What am I working on today? That kind of business aspect to kind of help you guys get rocking and rolling. Anything that helps stay on focus. All right. Along with that, I'm on Google+. Vimeo is also where you'll find these videos recorded and uploaded for you to be able to download and go from there. Okay. I also have a board on Pinterest. I don't spend much time on that, but those are across the board where we're basically located. If you're not on social media, guys, you really need to be into it. Now, yes, I am probably big 1, 2, 3 of these, 4, not all of them, but I have a presence on all of them. But more importantly on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram's really kind of something we're rolling out big. So if you have an Instagram account, you like taking photos, get an Instagram account. All right, everybody? So anyway, obviously it's January. We've all got some big goals for the year, all right, and what we want to accomplish in life. And I always like to throw my goals out there to hold you guys accountable to me, or hold me accountable for my goals. And so I've got 2 numbers here. It's basically 1,000 and 1,000. I want to do 1,000 assets this year. We just, I think we got accepted in 2 more bids today. We're looking at another 30 assets as well from a tape. That came exclusively for me. And then I also want to put 1,000 people through my workshops. Whether it's online, online home study course, or in-person training. And then I do have a special announcement for some of my workshops taking place here in the near future as well. So we'll move on that. But those are 2 big business goals for me. I got some personal goals obviously lined up. Hopefully you all do too. You've gotten your New Year's resolutions up and ready and written and hanging around there. So, but we'll talk about, let's get into the meat of the matter now. What we'll cover tonight, we'll show you how to find non-performing notes from banks and hedge funds. We'll show you how to fund these deals with OPM. We'll actually show you how to flip notes and other different exit strategies that are involved out there, because there's a variety of different exit strategies depending on the situation. We'll also show you how to create win-win-win situations, not only for you, but for the banks and the homeowners involved. A little side note here, this is being recorded for you. So if you registered for it and have to hop off or something like that, you can listen to the replay tomorrow, or want to hear me read just my lovely voice tomorrow or later on this evening. It is available for you. All right? So the question I always have is, what does your business look like? All right? When I talk with real estate investors, I'm always like, hey, what have you been investing in? Well, I've done this or I've done this. Okay, great. But we often find that a lot of people are going out there looking for that ugly house. You know, it's got a lien on it. And they're looking to turn it into something like this. And it's always interesting to see people like that, because most people get bogged down on the single asset. I want to go out and scratch it and sniff it and rub it and hug it and hump it. You know, I want to get bogged down on the details. I want to swing a hammer. You know what? That's great. You go do that. I have no desire to rehab homes. I mean, I've got a couple rehab homes going on right now that we're closing on, which I'm excited about. But it's not anything exciting. I would rather have my business look like this. You know, now you look at these numbers like this, and it's kind of mind-boggling for people. Like, I can't think of going from, you know, this to this, but it's really not that hard. You know, that's all across the country. You can see a huge amount of my assets are in Florida. And I'm excited about that. I'm really enthusiastically excited about that. I'm getting back to Florida in a couple weeks to look at some more assets, to bid on some stuff. All right. So, but I also have a lot up in the Midwest, okay, and more in Indiana and Illinois every day. But that's my business goal. I want my business to be bigger. I want to own 1,000 assets across the country, plus on top of what we do this year, okay? So you keep that in mind, and there's definitely ways for you to do it. Literally, guys, 5 years ago, I was wholesaling assets, making 10 grand, 20 grand, 5 grand, $1,500 on deals. I mean, that's not exciting stuff, but for me it was. Some of you, it's be very exciting, but in today's market, you've got to look at purchasing and staying involved with that asset. All right? You're going to make the real returns are coming from doing the workouts. I mean, I'll give you an example. I had a conversation with a $100 million hedge fund today, and they're calling me to buy assets. They're looking for assets that they can make money on. The buy, fix, and flips doesn't work their route for them. They want to look to buy the assets. They want to look to fund assets with their credit facilities. So that's the biggest thing is you got to keep that in mind. You have the opportunity. Never have before have you had the opportunity to be investing nationwide versus just in your hometown. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're in an area that's got plenty of assets, like if you lived in Florida or invest highly in Florida, you could buy just from Florida alone and probably be fine. You can do the same thing in Ohio. You can probably do the same thing in Indianapolis and Illinois. I've got some friends who do that. Kansas City, St. Louis is also some really good markets. All right? You have to know your markets, and you have to start thinking outside your neighborhood most of the time. All right? I know I have a large amount of my database is from California. You know what? You're not going to see a lot of stuff in California, so you've got to look across the country to make sense on assets, okay? So how do we find these deals? How do we get these deals involved, or how do we get a chance to get our hands on these assets? Well, banks will sell these assets. You just got to reach out to them. You also deal with the hedge funds out there, like the Granites, the Condors, the Watermarks, the Geminis. Those are some of the sources that we've bought from in the past. Okay. You also see servicing companies are starting to get more and more into the game of selling stuff. I got a tape of assets from a servicing company just recently. Not Land Home, but Land Home also sells assets as well. You'll also find assets on different auction websites, like auction.com, like Watermarks also, I guess you could say, would be an auction website, FCI, DebtX. If you want to be able to do a little bit more work, you can reach out to mortgage bankers, not mortgage brokers, mortgage bankers that hold stuff on there, have a warehouse line of credit, okay? And then you'll also find private sellers. Like I'm a private seller. I guess you could also throw me in the hedge fund side of things. Some of my buddies are also private sellers that have bought assets. You only buy 10, 20 assets, and they look to sell 2 or 3 off and keep the rest, okay? I'll give you an example. Nigel Alston here in the middle, buddy of mine out of Florida. Him and his buddies here actually operate out of Miami. I don't know who photobombs, whose ass that is. I guess it's the usher's ass that photobombed us. But Seth and Rob and Jay and Nigel, they all work together down, and they've gone from basically being private sellers to creating an auction website for assets, okay? So the question I get from a lot of people are, well, Scott, are banks really letting notes go? Well, yeah, they are. No, they're not. It all depends on who the bank is. Today I got an email. Hey, I want to buy my 2 notes on these assets. I'm like, well, who's the bank? And they're like, it's Bank of America and Select Portfolio Services. I'm like, they're not going to sell. Don't waste your time with the Big 5, guys. Okay? Big 5, Bank of America, Chase, Citibank, Wells Fargo. You can throw in IndyMac in there or One West. They're just not going to sell you a one-off asset. GMAC is not going to sell you a one-off asset. Okay? You'll deal primarily with a lot of hedge funds who have pools and notes that they want sold yesterday. You'll often see commercial banks. Commercial assets will often get sold on a one-off basis, though, from some of the medium-sized banks. Residential notes, and they may sell them off, but they may want to sell them off as a pool, which just varies. Okay? But banks are selling basically any type of asset you want. If you're looking for specific assets, they'll find it. Now, a big caveat here. I get a lot of people ask me about, I want to buy a couple $100 or a couple 100-unit apartment complex, 400, 500 units. Those deals are gone, everybody. The only way you're going to find those is something that's completely depressed that you can regentrify and bring up to value. You're not going to see a lot of apartment notes when it comes down to everything, okay? Now, some of the banks you want to deal with are some of these guys, all right? These are some of the banks that we've bought from in the past. All right, like Capital One up here, BBVA Compass, U.S. Bank, PNC Bank. We've bought some of these guys in the past. BB&T has a ton of assets available. They've got this junk that's sitting in their books, though. And the question is, it's been on their books for 2, 3, 4 years without payments. For them, smaller valued assets are junk. But what does junk look like? Well, maybe it's the originally $35,000 condo in Miami Gardens. Maybe it's the $100,000 value condo in a penthouse or something like that. All right? Or it's maybe this little single-family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath brick home. Okay? Now, these are pictures of assets that I actually own. Well, one's this condo in Miami Gardens. Originally, the bag valued at $35,000. Well, we were able to pick it up for like $21,000, but over the last year, it's appreciated to be over worth $50,000, $60,000. Okay? Same thing on these here in the David Williams Hotel, 700 Biltmore Avenue in Coral Gables, Florida. Originally, it was worth about $50,000. They've grown to over $100,000 in value. But the banks were willing to get rid of this stuff for a fraction of what was owed. We could pick this stuff up and foreclose. We didn't mind taking it 12 to 15 months to foreclose because we were sitting in a much more controlled environment. In some cases, we're able to get assets, even though in a longer foreclosure process, get the borrowers to forgive us or to give us their assets where we forgive the debt, such as this one in Daytona Beach, Florida. So the question is, where are you going to find these assets? And we went through some different things, and it's all reaching out to the right department. If you don't remember anything else on this book, or not on this book, tonight, remember this. You may want to write this down. Banks have primarily 2 departments. They have the special assets department and the secondary marketing department. All right? Those are the 2 departments that you're going to reach out to, or the name of the department, 2 names of the department that often handle distressed assets. Okay? You're not going to call loss mitigation. You're not going to call for the REO department. Those 2, they're on collection side. Okay, once the asset has gone to REO, they're not going to sell the note. They're not going to sell it at a discount most of the time. I mean, if you're an REO agent or deal with REO agents, you see that. Go taking place right now all the time. So the question is, you just got to focus on their junk. It becomes opportunity to you guys. All right. Everybody wants assets that are $150,000 or later, or the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $150,000 asset. You know, you'll find those sometimes, but they're going to go at a peak, at premium. You're going to make most of your higher returns and your money on the smaller stuff, what the bank is just junk. So, what do you do with these once you get these? Well, there's a multitude of exit strategies. Let me give you an example. Here's one asset. One of the first note deals I bought, actually, it started off with a yellow letter campaign. We sent a yellow letter out to the house. We also followed up with a foreclosure letter. The borrower called us. They were facing foreclosure. We were able to delay the foreclosure auction. They ended up buying the note and then getting them to deed us the property over, and they walked away, and we took care of everything else. Rehabbed it, and they were able to sell the house for a nice profit. This goes back in the day. You can see my for sale by owner. But that's a pretty good little house, if you think about it. Gorgeous looking house. Round Rock, Texas. One of the first note deals I did. All right? So, if you don't know the deals, there's basically 6 different exit strategies. Well, obviously, if you buy the note or get the note under contract and it's at a decent price, you could wholesale, or as I say, flip the note. Okay? Wholesale is just basically putting something under contract and selling the contract off, making a profit. You can modify the loan. Modifying the loan is basically just adjusting the interest rate payments, forgiving back payments, whatever you want to do. Usually you're doing a deferment with the borrower, getting them to start put some skin in the game, for them to follow through on things before you actually officially change the terms of the loan. You could also allow the borrowers to have somebody come in and assume the loan, do the loan assumption. Okay? Some of you guys are familiar with when loans were assumable most of the time. But most of the loans stopped being assumable in 1978. The only ones that were assumable were VA loans, and that's changed up. Well, when you buy the note, you have the right to allow that borrower to let somebody else assume if they want to. Now you've got 2 borrowers on the hook. Okay? If you want to, you can allow them to short sell it. Buy the note, you can let them borrower list it and sell it for a short sale. You're obviously going to make money above that. If you want to, you can take a deed in lieu, cash or keys, as we often call it. Sometimes you offer cash, sometimes just forgiveness of the debt. Okay? And then 6 is foreclosure. Now, a lot of times you'll have a different variety around. A lot of times when I first got started in real estate, I was going, especially on the note side, I was going for to wholesale it or I'd foreclose. All right? Not a smart move. You need to be focusing more on modifying the loan, short selling, or deed loans. Those are probably the 3 fastest ways you're going to make money and a higher return. Yes, you'll make wholesale, you make a quick profit in the front end, but you're not going to make any money along the middle or at the end. And most of your profits are going to lie through 67% of the note deal, note transaction. All right? Let's move on. We talked about exit strategy. Let's talk about raising capital, finding funds for these things. Now, most investors, when they start talking about raising capital, they don't work through the end. They don't run through different scenarios. And you always have to start with the end in mind. What's your strategy going to be? What's the exit strategy probably going to be? Is it going to fall into be a foreclosure? Is it going to be a potential loan mod? Is it vacant, so we're going to have to try to get deed in lieu of foreclose? Right? What are your potential strategies? One of the things we do, if it's occupied, we'll look at, hey, we can modify the loan. Maybe we can short sell it. All right? Or we'll do a cash for keys if we have to. All right? You can, as I say, wholesale the note for profit. If you modify the loan, you do run into some options with the hardest hit funds. It's available in 19 different states, or actually down to 16 states now. We've gone through a couple of these things. You have to figure out what are you going to do. You're going to make quick profits here so you don't have to get the cash in mind, or you're going to allow them to modify or them take over the loans or work with the borrowers. So knowing your strategies and what those dollars mean is critical. Okay? So how do you get funders involved on this stuff? Well, you have to think, what do the real estate investors want? Are they looking for cash flow? Are they looking for a large chunk? Are they looking for a flat return on investment? Okay? Are they looking to be active in the deal, or do they want to be more passive? All right? Are they looking for something that's really secured? All right? First position, this is why I buy first position liens. I don't buy seconds. There are some investors who buy seconds, that's fine. I just choose, if I'm going to use somebody else's money to buy liens, I want to be in the first lien position. Most importantly, they're going to ask you, can they trust you? Can they? All right? You have to give them the information. The more information you give them on a deal, the more they're likely to trust you. Okay? Last but not least, it really comes down to return. Yes, return's important, but if you identify what your investors are looking for, you can offer them a decent return, hey, there you go. So, how do you find these funding sources? Well, you have to have cash to buy notes, all right? So you're going to go out after private investors. Go to your local meetup groups, meetup.coms, all right? Networking clubs, chasing IRAs. Okay, self-directed IRAs are a great way to find private investors, going to the Quest events or the Entrust events or the Equity Trust Conference, or talking to self-directed IRA investors. You can also talk with people who have lines of credit available. All right? One of my assistants, Poppy, she's gone and raised quite a bit of money with her rehabs and her note deals because she's got lines of credit available. She's got good credit. Okay? And in some rare situations, some funds will owner finance. Some banks will actually offer to carry the paper. Sometimes they'll turn that stuff over. Sometimes they'll joint venture with you. Keep that in mind. Desi Arnaz is one of my students, been one of my note buying for Dummies workshops, and Desi's done a great job. He's raised, from within 3 months of him attending my workshop in San Diego a while back, he raised 90 grand. He raised 300 grand in private funds and made 90 grand in profits. That's not a bad 3 months, right, everybody? Let's start to annualize that out for him. Okay? As I mentioned before, you want to attend your investment clubs to raise private money. Things I've discussed. Another way to raise money is to reach out to county records for the IRA investors. Going to the county clerk's office or county clerk online of a different county, or and checking for the deed records for anybody that's got a self-directed IRA company, checking for Equity Trust or Quest borrowers, Quest investors on there. That's a great way that we raise private money across the country, is by doing this. Okay? Obviously, social media is a huge way. Sharing the deals you've closed, deals that others have closed, are a great, awesome way to raise money. This is probably our number one priority. The way we raise is through our social media and crowdfunding efforts. You can also do stuff on biggerpockets.com. There's a lot of investors on BiggerPockets looking for deals. Keep that in mind. Okay? You got to realize, though, that you've got to put some work in. You've got to make it rain and a rainbow to show up. You got to get some work done. You got to do it consistently on a regular basis. Okay? Now, one of the things you also to keep in mind is deals can vary on size. You got to know this stuff for your investors. All right? Where are they at in the foreclosure time frame? Is there qualified buyers for those assets that when you finish? You don't want it to be in a small town like LaGrange, Texas versus Austin, Texas. Okay? Are there assets available? I mean, if you're building your business plan and you want to buy assets, are going to be deals for you to make offers on those areas? You also need to know pricing. Pricing expectations can change depending on the location. If it's in California, it's going to be expensive. If it's in Michigan, it's going to be really cheap. Okay? You need to know rent rates. You know your ROIs, your return on investment. If it's a modification, how's that going to work out? If it's a rental, how's that going to work out? If I got a foreclose and short sale, how's that going to work out? Got to know value most importantly. Got to get realtors involved to help you out with that. Okay? And finally, and last but not least, you have to look at what the time or the size of the check is going to be. How does the return come out versus ROI? All right? How's your size of the check come out versus ROI? For a lot of the time, especially with first versus seconds, I'd rather make a $50,000 paycheck versus a $5,000. And I'm sure many of you guys would rather make a $5,000 paycheck versus $50. So knowing what it is and the return on investment that comes available, and the return, how that works out, is very, very important. Okay? So let's talk about some good deals here give you guys an opportunity here to play a little bit. How's that sound? Okay? So I'm going to ask you, what would you pay? Well, this is a $100,000 fair market value condo. It's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,050 square feet. It's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Rents for $1,200 a month. Okay. It's got a $165,000 UPB. 24 months in default. It'll take you about 12 months to foreclose, maybe a little bit faster. Okay. So what would you guys pay for this one? Any offers? Okay, we got one offer in. The rest of you guys don't want to offer? Well, we've got a couple different ones. We actually got an offer in. It says $45K with clean titles and taxes. Well, Frank, I want to clarify on this. When you're buying the note, you're not going to have clean title. There may be seconds behind it. There may be some liens. But the idea is that if you foreclose, you'll be able to clean a lot of stuff. And taxes are often be owed. You're going to pay some taxes. So maybe it's a year, 2 year. Okay? Everybody's coming in right about $40K. 45 in some situations. That's fine. 15, Ruth, forget it. It's worth 100. The bank is not going to return your phone call anymore, Ruth. It's worth 100. Okay? 60's not bad. Now, I actually paid $33,000 for it. I wish I had a dozen assets there, except for Ruth's offer at $15,000. Killing me, Ruth. Killing me. But for $33,000, I've got plenty of options. It's probably going to cost me about $5,000 in servicing foreclosure costs. It's actually in really good shape. The HOA that we reached out to told us it's basically in clean condition. It is worth $100K based on current CMAs, but that value is actually appreciating in North Fort Lauderdale. Okay, I've got a lot of options if I want to keep it as a rental. I'm probably not going to modify it because it's already vacant, right? But I've got definitely some options to do it going forward on different things, right? Flexibility is key. Yeah, 33 grand, great. Even at 40, even at 50, I've got some flexibility if it costs me that much. All right? All right. You'll often find ugly enough. Now, Ruth, you may come in handy here. Here's an asset, okay. $130,000 first lien. No payments, borrowed and made payments for 18 months. $110,000 after repair value. Now, it needs some work. It needs about $30K in repairs. As it sits, it's worth $55K. Okay? Little duplex in Phoenix. Picked this thing up. There was actually bums living in it. It wasn't trashed. It needs some repairs, though. Okay? What happened, the borrower had bought this with a conventional loan and was rehabbing the property, trying to fix it up to sell when the market was peaking. Well, what happened in Phoenix? We knew it peaked and then it dropped. So, what'd you guys pay for this? What'd you guys offer on this one? Bill offers $15K. Frank offers $20K. See, you two guys are very active. Well, we got two bids here. $12,000 from Darren, third bid. $7,500 from Kathy. Okay. Well, I offered $3,750 on this thing. I got it accepted. All right. And it turned into $17,150 in profits. Now, we reached out to the borrower after I paid $3,750 for it, or we got it funded at $3,750. And after his Rosetta Stone shenanigans, he was willing to come to the table and do a deed loan. We then listed it as an REO, just completely online through Postlets, and my realtor friend, she sent it out to her wholesalers list. We sold it in 30 days for $25,000 in cash. All right. 3 years of back taxes and closing costs, we netted $17,000 on it. Now, the kicker here is when I was talking to Bobby, that's her right there, and her husband Charles about the deal, I told her I was paying $37,500 for it. She's like, "What? You're paying $37,500 for that? What? That's way too expensive." I said, "No, probably $3,750." She actually dropped the phone. Okay. Now, when she picked it back up, put the batteries back in, and called me back, she's like, "Scott, I've got $5,000 to invest in sitting in my self-directed IRA. This is a deal. I'll do all the work for you. I'll say, well, can I fund this deal when we split the profits 50-50? I was like, yeah, sure. So I never walked the property, never swung a hammer, okay? Never collected rent, I didn't even show up to closing. She handled all of it for me, okay? It equated out to about 3 hours of work from me from over 1,000 miles away, okay? Basically, I bought the asset, she did the due diligence, handled some paperwork on it my side, and we agreed to closing. Now, the question is here, was this a good deal for her? Of course it was. She made $8,000 on her $3,750. Heck yeah, that's right, kid. She made $8,500 on her $3,750. Great return on investment. Was it a good deal for me too? Of course it was. I have zero investment, just 3 hours of time. Okay, 3 hours of time. You figure 3 hours of time is 180 minutes. I made $8,000, 180 minutes. What is that? Let's figure that out. What's it worth per hour or per second? I was listening to the radio today on the way down town today, run by the Secretary of State's office. We both made $85.75, and we divide that by 3 hours. It's $28.58 an hour. Divide that by 60 minutes. It's 47 bucks a minute. Let's divide that by 60. Basically, I'm getting paid 80 cents a minute. I'm sorry, 80 cents a second on that deal. Hey, that's not so bad. Dr. Dre makes, what, 19 or 49 bucks a second, they said, something like that? It's ridiculous. 80 cents a second. Who wouldn't like those type of salaries, right? For every second you get, you're getting 80 cents. That's not a bad day, right? But that's the kind of stuff you'll see on some of these returns. Yeah, it takes a little while. Unfortunately, I don't see a lot of small assets like that anymore. You will. I take that back. You'll see them from time to time, but they're going to be $25,000, $30,000 assets, and there's nothing wrong with those. We get those from time to time. All right. Now, oftentimes you have money holding the note. Now, this is where you make a lot of money. Jamie and Lanny Harrington, they're friends of mine out of Taylorsville, North Carolina. We were working with them a while back, and they literally came across this Charlotte note. This condo right here. All right. Second floor condo. We bank was only owed $37,500 on it. We ran numbers that came in at worth $50,000. The bank only valued it about $40,000. Jamie offered $17,500 on it. I told her to offer like $10,000 on it. She said, no, I'll offer $50,000. She was happy at that. Well, the nice thing is she bought the note. The asset manager eventually told me he would have taken like $6,000 for it, not $17,000, but he was happy to get $17,000. Jamie's happy. Hey, whatever. But she went out and knocked at the door, and lo and behold, the guy living in it was a long-haul truck driver. And he'd been out of work for a while, but he'd just gotten hired on about 3 weeks earlier and gotten a $5,000 bonus that was sitting in his account. He's like, listen, I want to stay in the property. Done some work on it. As you can see, it's in good shape. Can I give you the $5,000 to stay? His loan had been sold like 4 or 5 times. So what do you think she said? Of course she said yes. Now, she used her self-directed IRA on this to fund the deal, so she got the $5,000 back and started getting monthly payments. The guy started making an existing payment on time. Okay? Turned out about to be a 22% monthly return on investment for her. Okay? Now, what was nice, also, 6 months into the agreement, the borrower came to her and basically deeded the property to her. Said, listen, I got to move out of state. I know I could sell the property, but can I just give you the asset and you take care of it? You don't owe me anything. Let me stay. What do you think she said? Of course. So she kept it, and she eventually sold the asset for $45,000 after holding it for a while. Not a bad return on investment, right, everybody? Okay. Not a bad return on investment. Now, modifying the loan there's so many different ways to do it. You can reduce principal. You can reduce the interest rate. You can forgive past due payments. You can do a loan deferment where, hey, you start making payments, do a little bit of this on time, and I'll adjust things. You can get some down payment towards the back payments. You can adjust that, adjust the rate, whatever you need to. Say we're going to stair-step it up after, give you a 5% interest rate, and we'll stair-step it up a little bit, okay? Steve Eckhart, who's one of my mastermind students from Texas here, he buys a lot of assets across the country. He's always looking for owner-financed, or not owner-financed, but owner-occupied homes. All right? The reason he likes owner-occupied is, A, there's usually some emotional equity because they've lived in the property for a while. B, the AC is still there. 3, the copper goblins having to come in and trash the property and steal everything. So there's usually somebody with some pride of ownership on that. Okay? Now, what will happen a lot of times, we talked about earlier that banks will sell assets. Well, you'll have what happen is you start buying these assets from banks, the banks will start calling you on deals. They'll literally start calling you on deals. Okay? Here's one in West Palm Beach, Florida, 800 Clubhouse Drive. It's a 6-unit apartment complex that when we originally got it, it was worth $240,000. Okay? The borrower owed $430,000 plus a second of $60,000. Okay? But on the first was $430,000. This is July 2010, roughly numbers. So it's been a couple of years. Well, after 90 days of negotiation with the bank, back and forth, the asset manager, we picked it up for $175,000. Okay? Now, in that 90 days of negotiation, the value had actually appreciated from $240,000 up to $300,000. Okay? We bought it $175,000, actually took it over to receivership, and it took 8 more months for us to foreclose on the actual borrower. But during those 8 months, we got the rents. We were able to put renters in it long term. And then when we decided to take it to foreclosure auction, we listed it for $310,000 in our opening bid, and that's what it got bought up at. Not a bad little unit, 6-plex. Yeah, but you'll see that kind of stuff. That's a win-win. Now, the investor, Kathy Hopkins, that bought the deal or funded the deal from me, with me, I should say, we joint ventured on the deal. She took it down and controlled the whole deal, and we did a 75-25 split. She got 75% of the profits, cash flow. I got 25% for putting the deal together, and then also getting involved a few times. Win-win. Kathy's no longer a real estate agent. I mean, she still is, but she's focused primarily on notes in Florida. Okay? Here's another example. Sometimes you'll have a home run hit. This asset, Lehigh Acres, Florida. We bought it for $49,000. It was vacant, but in a good little property. My realtor go out and take a look at it. I invest heavily in Lehigh Acres, Cape Coral, Bonita Springs, Fort Myers, Florida. Told me it was worth about $100,000 as it sat. We bought it at $49,000. It was almost all the way to foreclosure process, and we listed it for $90,000 at the foreclosure auction. We sold it for $90,100. Really took less than right about 2 weeks to close. We funded to closing on it. That's the case. Obviously, it takes about 3 weeks to get the check in from the county, but it's going to be a pretty good return on investment for us, making $41,100 on it on a $49,000 investment. That's an 83.9% ROI. Not annualized. That's basically in the 2 weeks. If I annualize that, it'd be a whole lot more than that. Those are the deals you love because they will completely shoot your values up. Okay? I knew this property was vacant. I knew it wasn't going to be a loan mod, but I know that I could sell these. I buy quite a bit. I made another bid on another asset in the same city, literally 2.5 miles from here, down the same street. I expect to get it sold at $80, $85. All right? Picking it up at $40. It's a little bit smaller house, but a nice little 3-2. Okay? Sometimes you'll get to know markets and be ready to rock and roll on stuff. Okay? Now, how do we create win-wins for the borrowers, Jimbo? Well, a lot of times the property owners have their head in the sand. They're not answering email. They don't like to answer phone calls. They really don't want help. Don't get me wrong. Some do, but some really don't want to help. Okay? Often these people dealing with, sometimes you just got to get the attorneys to send a letter out. All right? You're not going to come after for a deficiency judgment. They ain't making the mortgage payment. What makes you think they're going to come after be able to pay a judgment off? You're not going to offer any late pays on the credit because why? Their credit's already shot. I like to work with them so I'm not reporting the foreclosure to the credit. Okay? Sometimes we'll give them cash for keys, cash for moving. We're not coming after them for a promissory note. None of that stuff. These are the things the banks are all looking to do, everybody. We don't look to do that. We look to help them. Okay? For the banks, we offer them some help as well. We'll help them get rid of the bad debt that's killing their books. We'll settle for a fraction on it, but literally help them get the stuff done quicker, faster than they could. Okay? Banks really do hate REOs, whether you want to believe it or not. Once they've gone through assets that are not producing any type of income for them, that's what an REO is. It's just sitting out there. They got to sell it off. There's no type of loan payments coming in. And that's how banks make money, is off of loans. Okay? A lot of times banks have had the pretend and extend mentality when it comes to commercial assets. Oh, you didn't make a payment the first year. We'll forgive you and let you move on. Okay? They often have a heartbreak. Well, a lot of times these asset managers, there's something more wrong with them. Okay? Sometimes there's something wrong with their head. They've got it shoved up their ass. Okay? When you look at some of these things, these people were making loans to people that had no reason to. They also seem to value assets sometimes. Where the hell are they getting these assets from? Where the values from? Okay? They get their head shoved up their ass. And sometimes it's up to us to, hey, listen, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. All right? But let's get to us. How do we create win-wins for us as investors? Well, I don't know about you guys, but I often felt like I was on a treadmill running in the same place. All right? Friggin' just sitting there spinning my wheels. All right? No, not going anywhere doing the same thing. Sending letters out, door knock, and all that stuff. It just didn't make sense for me. Okay? Too competitive a market, especially the markets in San Antonio, Austin, where I spent a lot of time buying, were tough. Very competitive markets for investing. Okay? But with notes, there's very little competition when you compare to everything. Okay? You're going to find some awesome deals out there that you can do the same type of work on. All right? Very little overhead. It's not the same thing as going out having a full office. I mean, I have an office spot, yes, you see behind me in Austin. You don't have to work from home. You work from the road. All right? You can close residential commercial deals doing a lot of the same thing. All right? You can do this stuff all across the country. You don't have to be in your backyard. All right? I recommend, unless you're sitting in Florida, not to invest in your backyard. Okay? What separates a lot of people, though, is you're going to do this without any of your own money. All right? If you do the things that we very started right off the bat with the social media aspect and the things like reaching out, you'll be able to raise plenty of private money to take things down. And that's what you have to do. Most people won't do that. Okay? It all starts with getting the word out to people. All right? Give you an idea with my business. And yes, that is a picture of me from a few years back at one of my first workshops I taught in Austin, Texas. Yes, I'm wearing a suit there, or a jacket anyway. I know, don't laugh. Making some phone calls to banks there is what I was doing. No, it's not an imposter. That guy's a little bit lighter in weight, obviously, too. Anyway, it was 2007. I was making literally 200 phone calls to banks in a week. 3 to 4 days a week, making 50 to 60 phone calls. A lot of times, come Friday, I was talking like Elmo Fudd. Okay? I had 50 asset manager contacts. I was really reaching out to try to get 100 by the time my first year went by. Actually, it was a tough time. All right? It's what we do today didn't exist back in 2007. It totally did not exist. I had different 5 lists of assets that I was looking through. All right? I was closing about 1 deal a month, making about 10 grand, which is not bad, you know, not bad. It's not near what my income is today, but it's still not a bad way to make money. 95% of my business was from banks. That's why we had to do a lot of phone calls. Only about a 5% came from hedge funds. All right. Now, in today's dollars, I look at every house, trying to make money off every house now. All right. I direct to 5,000 plus asset managers, 800 plus hedge funds. I can send an email out and generate hundreds of deals most of the time with these banks and hedge funds. Okay? And the business switches, about 80% hedge funds, 20% banks. And that will adjust as the year goes through. It changes. I'm probably looking to get more into the bank side. I personally own 300 plus assets all across the country. And that's the difference, okay? You know, market value 12 to 15 million, yes, it's a great thing. But it all started by just basically tweaking. All right? Yes, I used to wholesale a lot. I wish I hadn't done a lot of the deals I wholesaled. Okay? I've taught a lot of investors how to make money in real estate by buying notes, and I'm excited about that. All right? I'm definitely excited about that. That's been a wonderful thing because, in turn, those people have helped make me money because we get bigger discounts, we buy deals, we joint venture together. People are doing a lot of good things. Let me share some examples for you. You got Rich Brewer out of Kansas City. He's doing a great job. He's actually on a self-directed IRA cruise right now, raising capital. I'm talking with investors. You got Don and Marca. Don's on a call tonight. Don is just rocking it. Bought about 21 assets. I think Richard's bought about 17 to 20 assets. Richard's made over 100 grand. Don's got some great deals. I think on the most recent pool of 17 he bought, he's got 4 or 5 or 6 that are already deed and live that he's going to be able to turn around and sell pretty nice. Robbie Woods. Robbie's our international traveler students. He travels and spends a lot of time abroad, but buys and manages his portfolio from abroad. Donna Perno, Jim Perno out of New Jersey. They're husband and wife team that do a really good job, bought over 20 plus assets. You got Kimberly Banks Fawcett out of Dallas. She's bought 20 plus assets, doing a tremendous job, and she works this part time. All right. You also have Greg Felt, who's doing a great job. Greg's bought 20 assets all across the country. He buys in Detroit, buys in Michigan areas. Okay? You got Mark and Susan Gaston who've done a good job. They just closed on a pool of, I think, 20 assets, raised over $500,000 from a self-directed IRA investor. Okay? You then also got Jay Tenenbaum, who's a buddy of mine, doing a wonderful job. Jay's got a little bit different background in debt collection, but he's ready to close on another pool of 23 assets. It'll put him over 50 assets in the last 12 months, but Jay's made over $250,000 buying assets. All right? He's in a good job. He looks to modify. He buys a lot of lower-end, owner-occupied assets. His biggest goal is to modify the loan. I don't care if it's a $16,000 asset or a $60,000. He works to create win-win situations, and that's one of the biggest things you have to look to do. So, why did I start teaching? Well, my biggest goal of teaching was start helping people make things happen. And this is actually a picture of my first mastermind. I've been out working with these all individuals. You got Tom Beckers, Matt Mueller, Aaliyah Ott, Terry Garner, Philip Brown, Quinn Johnson, Stephanie Goodman, and then Brian Etzel. Everybody here has made over 100 grand in notes at least. Now, Aaliyah and Terry, they run a hard money fund that's in California. They do a lot of mezzanine financing now. He'll still buy some notes. Tom Beckers buys $1 million homes in LA. He's used the note industry to get into buying REOs. Matt Mueller bought a couple hundred assets from a bank, been modifying it and working it all out. Philip runs his own fund in D.C. now. Quentin buys notes. Stephanie's buying notes. A lot of you guys recognize Stephanie. She's my VP of operations, but she's buying assets. Okay. Brian Ensel has actually bought some assets. He's actually teaching people it in the San Jose market. My mastermind is a good group of people. Literally, it's the first group of us meeting in a house in Orlando, got like a couple years back, and spend 7 days just working through assets and having a good time working on things together. Well, that's blown up. Obviously, there's a big picture of another mastermind group of mine in Orlando. There's a group of fun people. Don and Karen on there. Let's see here. Don DeMarco's right there. Who else is on the call that's on there? There's quite a few good people in there. Kimberly Banks in there, as we talked about. Gus and Alice. Dan Moran's buying assets. Lance. Lance is getting ready to close on a deal with me as well. We bought a note, deed and loan, and closed on it on Thursday. There's Robbie. There's Val. Robbie's dad, Thomas Woods. You also have Jerry Briggs in there, doing a great job. Leslie's done some things. Lily O'Day, Judy Moore, Stephanie there, Todd Sullivan, Sid and me as partners with Dan Moran there, Carolyn, and Carl Herrick. They're doing a great job. A lot of people buying assets. That's the biggest thing we focus on, all right? The next one happened was here in Austin a few months ago. It's a good group that bought quite a few assets. And then the most recent one we just had, 57 investors we had in San Diego there. We took a group photo of everybody there. Everybody's in here, and that's not everybody. Some people couldn't make it. We've got some serious investors that are really making things happen and creating win-wins for themselves, the borrowers, and then also helping the banks and hedge funds move these assets. Either buying for their own portfolio, joint venturing with other students, other investors to make things happen. And, hey, what's the beautiful thing about this market, everybody, is there are so many different strategies that can happen. Some things get dragged out. When you invest in Florida, some things can definitely get dragged out in the foreclosure process. It's not as bad as New York, New Jersey, but sometimes it happens. Hey, you're going to keep appreciating. Hey, you probably bought it at a nice price, so now that you can adjust, and if the investor needs to get out, they can be refinanced out. You're creating some win-wins and also some safety nets for you, too, which is not always available in a rehab. I've got a good friend who bought a house here in Austin. They rehabbed it. They paid too much for it. They borrowed too much money. They're going to be lucky to get out of it without owning a dime. Okay? Without owning a dime. And they need to be focused on, they should have been buying different things out there. One success story is this guy back here in the corner here. This guy with the hat on, Gene Chandler, is out of Indianapolis, Illinois area, up north of South Bend. He buys in those two states, Indiana and Illinois. I sent an email to him on 4 or 5 deals that he's sent to me. He's made $100,000 on just 5 deals on those. He's bought probably about a dozen assets. And those 5 alone, he's made $100,000. The others he's working through. He does this part-time. He has a hot shop business. Gene does a good job, though. I could give you success story of students throughout here. And that's the biggest fun of seeing how people help each other out. Okay? So what's the catch? Well, most people that are new to this business don't know what they don't know. Okay? They don't know what the heck to ask because they haven't been in the business long enough. Okay? New investors need somebody to call, need somebody to reach out to. Reach out and help someone. You know, most investors struggle with 3 things. They struggle with finding deals, marketing, and raising capital. All right? Those are the 3 biggest things I see people struggle with. Okay? They don't have a game plan. They don't know how to set goals. They don't know how to take those actions. They don't have an idea how to monitor the things. They sure as heck a lot of times don't know how to evaluate the deal. And you have to have a game. You got to get your game on. You have a game plan to get where you want to be from now to get where you want to be down the road. And your game plan has to change. My game plan changes all the time. It still stays pretty much in the same course, but there's things I have to adjust throughout the week, throughout the month to get where I want to be. Okay? So how do you find that game plan? Well, you join us for a Note Buying for Dummies workshop. All right? It's a Thursday through Sunday workshop. It's not a pitch fest. It's designed to give you all content. We spend 1 full day on finding deals, 1 full day on funding, 1 full day on exit strategies, flipping, modifying, foreclosure, short sale. All right? We'll show you how to evaluate real deals. We actually have several lists that we usually break down to the workshops. We'll show you how to build a nationwide team of investors, actually bring in some of my experts from across the country to spend a few days with you. All right? We'll help you put a real plan in place. By the time you leave there, you usually will have a plan in place and have an idea how to get from where you want to be. You don't need to know A through Z. Just need to know A, B, and C to get the ball rolling. All right? D through Z will change and vary, and we can help you with that. Okay? Once you've taken my workshop, also paid for it, you can also repeat it, no additional cost. You also get a home study course with it. My home study course is my manual along with 2 workshops that have been recorded with videos, and you get a chance to go through them hour by hour, minute by minute, listen to my self-talk, questions from the other students, and it's all delivered online for you. Okay? But my next one is actually in California, not too far from Disneyland. It's in Anaheim, January 15th through the 18th, so it actually kicks off this Thursday at 8:30 a.m. is registration. Doors open at 9. Hilton Anaheim Convention Center. It is 4 days of content, no pitches. You'll meet some hedge fund managers. You'll actually get a 230-plus page manual, and with all my contracts and things like that. We'll help you build a real estate business. If you ever want to dive into it or you're tired of smoke being blown up your ass, it's fine. Come out and join us for 4 days. All right? Give you a kind of recap here. It does include a home study course. I also have a 30-day fast start note program that we help people get started off with. We also will help you find deals in your top 5 markets. And if you're in California, California should not be one of your top 5 markets. Okay? You'll also get on 3 to 4 hedge fund managers list. That's not included everybody. I've got a lot larger list. Allow for you to repeat for free. You can bring a guest with you. And it's usually $9.99 a line. All right? I offer a 2-for-1 for that. Now, one of the biggest things that we love to do, if there are any past or present military on the calls, we like to comp you guys in for free. It's our way of saying thanks for the sacrifices you've made. All right? If you're past or present military, we'll comp you in for free. All right? As I said before, we've got a big spot in our heart for military. All right? Quick recap, 4-day workshop, home study course, 30-day fast start note program. We'll be find deals in the top 5 markets. We'll help you get on some hedge fund buyers lists. They repeat for free, and it's $9.99. All right. A special bonus also, too, we've got excited to announce that Greg Reed will be attending the workshop. He's actually coming out and spend an hour with you guys talking. Greg loves to give away books. And, for those of you guys that don't know Greg Reed, he's a producer for movies. He's written over 45 bestsellers. Just an absolutely amazing individual. One of my good buddies, actually. But Greg has been a filmmaker. He's helping launch the story about Make-A-Wish Foundation. The story of Frank Shankowitz, who's also a friend. But Greg lives in San Diego, so he'll come up and spend an hour with us, I think, Saturday. Maybe Friday. I got to look back at the schedule. But he'll be coming in. If you've never heard Greg speak, you're going to want to. He actually has been, as we like to say, he's the new Napoleon Hill. Actually, Napoleon Hill Foundation gave him a letter a few years back, and he went out and rewrote the book for the new version called Think and Grow Rich, 3 Feet from Gold. And to tell you how effective it is, such an effective book, it's the only book that Amazon has, well, maybe not the only one at this point, but it was the first one of its kind where Amazon actually partnered with and joint ventured with them to help the launch of the book. Huge co-author, Sharon Lecter. He's also got some books coming out, The Gift Giver, Think and Grow Rich, Stickability. Definitely some great books there for you to take a look at. Okay? If you're looking for last Monday's presentation, I think some of you guys were actually in San Diego. My slides are actually on slideshare.com. You can find the PowerPoint for that on there. Or if you're looking for the previous Monday's video, it's also on Vimeo. All right? If you can't make it to a live event, one of the things we're implementing now is we're going to actually create some virtual events. I don't want to travel as much as I did last year. I was on 44 flights last year. Okay? And while, yes, we do have a workshop January through June of this year, we're going to be cutting it down. So once every 2 months, starting off with now, we'll be actually having a virtual event. What those virtual events are is it a 3-day event It's a live, basically live webinar with me, going through the material of the workshops. Gives you an opportunity to listen in. These are live events. Ask questions. We'll actually be bringing in some of our speakers that we actually speak, like Mark Gold, Val, and some of these guys. They'll get a chance to actually be able to cherry pick and ask them questions. It's a Friday through Sunday, and you do this from home. We'll probably kick off Friday at noon and go Saturday and Sunday. And we won't be going at 8 o'clock in the morning. That gives you a chance to get up, sleep in a little bit, have you be fresh. Probably get started about 10 o'clock Central each time. Okay? It'll be exclusive to NPN training. It'll be live. Like I said, it's not going to be recorded. You'll be able to ask live questions. We'll take breaks throughout the day. Basically, my goal is to bring the workshop to you. I get a lot of people like, hey, can you make it do a class in Denver? Can you do a class in Seattle? Honestly, I can't be everywhere, and honestly, I don't want to travel everywhere. But this is a way for you, if you're interested, to be able to log in, watch the material, ask questions of me, go through scenarios, that kind of stuff. And it's a great way. We're going to try to help people that can't make it out there. Now, it will be recorded for you that you'll be able to download and watch again if you need to. The home study course will be included with it. So you'll log in and be able to access all that information. And it's actually reduced price. So $9.99 per person for 2-for-1. We're actually just going to be a straight $4.99 pricing. All right, $4.99 pricing. Now, 2-for-1 is only special because I have a workshop coming up there. But this is a $4.99 pricing. It's pretty flat. You also get, if you need help with stuff, you'll be able to reach out to me via phone, email, text, whatever you need help with it. It's just not designed for you to be on there for 3 days and not ever hear from us. We want to help support you and get your numbers out. But our first one's going to actually be in March. We're excited about that. We haven't decided exactly when. We're trying to coordinate with our mastermind. We do have a workshop slated for St. Louis in March as well. So the St. Louis workshop is the 12th through the 15th. Going to be held at the Embassy Suites downtown in St. Louis. We're excited about that one, but we might bump this up to late February, just depending on the schedule. We've got a pretty busy back-to-back-to-back, so we may try to squeeze this in the end of February, depending on the speaking. All right. Any questions so far? You guys like the idea of a virtual workshop? Steve, I'm glad you enjoyed that $250K in 2015 plan. You'll be able to see the slide that's on there, plus last Monday's presentation on there. Okay, Steven likes that. Joe's good for that. Thank you, Don. I appreciate that. Ruben asked, what's the home study course? Home study is basically 2 of my actual live workshops recorded from the last couple of years for you to be able to watch. Hour by hour. Yes, I'm still coming to the Dallas in February 5th through the 8th. We're excited about that one. That's literally in just like 3 weeks. Golly, it's hard to I'm saying 4 weeks. But yes, that's going to be a big workshop for us in Dallas. So yeah, Tom will be there. But it looks like a lot of people like that. Okay, so cool. Just something we've been toying with. I am rewriting the manual on some things, so we're adding some stuff. And my goal is if I do the virtual stuff, it'll help with my live workshops. Probably be a little more streamlined and on task. But one less trip to have to make, okay? So, yeah, Tom, look forward to seeing you guys there. So good, I'm glad you guys enjoy the idea. Any other questions about what we discussed tonight? Where do you find it? Well, literally, I don't have, if you're interested in signing up for a virtual, just email me at scott@weclosenotes.com. We'll be glad to get you taken care of and get you signed up for that. If you're looking for our other workshops that are available, I'll go through that in a second here. Hang on here. We do have the Anaheim this week. We have the following one in Dallas, February 5th through the 8th. You can always go to WeCloseNotes.com and check on note training for the full schedule of events. We do have some joint venture opportunities available if you're interested. Gives you some photos of the assets that we have available. We have a whole variety of different ones, from condos in South Florida. Primarily, most of our stuff's in Florida that we're looking for joint ventures on. But next week's topic that we'll be doing on the next Monday note is actually with one of my attorneys, Henry Novak. For those of you that don't know about self-directed IRA LLCs, Henry's actually probably one of the nationwide experts. He does them, I think, in 23 or 32 states across the country for investors. What he'll do is help you with your self-directed IRA, and for nominal cost, basically get you set up so you've got checkbook access, the operating agreements written, and allow for you to get rock and rolling. He also does other legal services, but Henry's going to be talking about that next Monday, the 19th, and you'll be seeing an invite out for it. But Henry's been in the real estate business, real estate attorney galley for 20-plus years. I've known Henry, almost 10 years now, I guess. Yeah, I guess it has been almost 10 years I've known Henry. But an absolutely phenomenal guy. And you guys all that have been on these calls repeatedly with me know that I'm pretty strict on who I let on. I don't usually let on a lot of speakers that I don't think have any benefit. And Henry's one of those guys here locally that I think can definitely help out and help you guys get your year off to a rocket start, help you get your IRAs in places that are working, at least make you an expert also when you're out talking to your investors about possibly moving it to checkbook access for you. Question here. How do you find self-directed IRA investors via the county records? Well, Joe, you got to realize that most self-directed IRAs, if somebody owns an asset in their IRA, it's got to be labeled, let's say, Equity Trust as a trustee. So the asset would be labeled, not Joe Hamilton, as it's going to be labeled as Equity Trust for the benefit of Joe Hamilton IRA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you go to the county appraisal districts, type in the self-directed IRA names, or go to the county clerk and look for deeds with a grantee or grantors, the same thing. You'll pull you a list of investors on there. Okay. So also, that's one thing you can learn in my workshops. We go through a lot of extensive on that side. Hope that was helpful. Welcome, Joe. Any other questions? Definitely next Monday, you're going to want to log in and listen to it. He's put a good presentation together for you guys. Henry's very knowledgeable on real estate, trusts, some things you can do with those things. I consider him an expert, so I like to reach out to him for different things. Anyway, as we said, we got some different joint venture opportunities available if you're interested. We've got them all across Florida. We've got them all across the country, too. Usually, if you're looking to invest money, we're usually looking for somebody with 10 to 25 grand or greater. All right. So if there's no any other questions, we will wrap it up. Make sure, like I said, if you want to come to the Anaheim Workshop, feel free to sign up at WeCloseNotes.com. I'll show you guys how to get there. Just go to WeCloseNotes.com. You'll see training and courses. Note training. And then you see the screen right here, get registered for the note buying for dummies. And then just click on which one you want to sign up for. So the Anaheim, the Dallas, the St. Louis. There's our full list of 6 workshops we've got so far for the first half of 2015. All right? All right, everybody. If there are no other questions, we will wrap it up for the evening. As I said, if you're interested in the virtual workshop, please email me directly, and we'll be glad to get you out a PayPal link to get you taken care of. Literally, we've been toying with the idea, and you guys are the first ones for me to actually offer it up. So we'll get that taken care of. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening at 6:15. Have a wonderful evening, and hopefully those who will see in Anaheim. We will also be in New Jersey in 2 weeks at the Distressed Mortgage Conference with Nick Tang, the 24th and 25th. We'll be speaking there on Saturday. And then I'm also speaking Saturday the following on the 31st in Houston at the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate event. So I'm going to be traveling quite a bit over the next couple weeks, as usual. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for a wonderful evening. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys at the top. See you later. Good night.